As you can see by this meme right here, we have to discuss this. Let's do that. What's going on, guys? So this meme was posted by Sound Oracle, and man, it's been going crazy, a whole bunch of stuff. And the one thing I want you guys to understand about memes, as I talked about in my other video about DJ Khaled, is that there are half-truths within a meme, and usually they cut out a clip. Unfortunately, I could not find the original video to talk about, but it's pretty straightforward what this meme is about and what Pharrell is going to talk about in this meme. And a lot of people responded to it, so we're going to look at this meme, and I'm going to chime in with my thoughts.
And whatever that is that moves you, you have to chase it. You got to chase that shit till you run it down. And then when you get it and you learn it, it'll move you. And then after that, you'll get tired of it, and that'll help you go into the next direction that's totally different from that. That's the best way. A lot of people would do the same shit over and over again. You know what I'm saying? They're just, basically a lot of their beats sound the same, use the same drums and shit. A lot of people will do that. But you can't, that's a dangerous game, because when you absolutely have to change and the streets is, saying all your shit sound alike, then you gotta hustle to find a new sound real quick. I don't know if that's the right route to go. So like we didn't use the grinding drums 100 million times.
That is blasphemous.
We use it on grinding, and we did like a ballad on 702.
Come on, son.
And which I didn't even really use the drums the same way. I used them, but used them in a very different way. But that you never heard me use that shit again.
Pharrell sounded like he didn't really like that grinding record too much. But the reality of it is, there's contradictions, of course, in what he said. But, I know he didn't use it 100 million times. He was just throwing a number out there. But one thing, for those people that just been sleeping under a rock or just don't care about hip-hop or R&B or pop or whatever, the Neptunes has done a lot of stuff not to be unheard of. I'm just saying. But Pharrell has done a lot of records, and for the most part, the Neptunes had a niche sound that was theirs. So one of the things that he was talking about is that, pursuing a sound and being hungry and making people accept it. Like, if you bang people over the heads with a certain kind of a vibe, it will catch on eventually if you're hungry enough to go out there and get it. So I 100% respect what he was saying when it comes to that. I kind of find certain things questionable what he said. Of course, leave a comment below if you can name 3 or more songs where Pharrell, Chad Hugo have used the same drums. I guarantee you it's more than 7. I can name at least 3 off the top of my head. Ray J's Wait a Minute. I Just Want to Love You with Jay-Z. I'm a Slave by Britney Spears. Yes, I'm a fan of Britney Spears. Sue me. Mystical Shake Your Ass. And those are just a few of them I can name. I was going to be petty and just make a compilation of songs where they use the same drums, but there's no point of doing that, because all of them that made the cut, they were bangers. The Neptunes in themselves, I've already covered on this channel. It was my 100th video, if I'm not mistaken. I probably have a link in the description box for you guys so you can watch that documentary, because it's a really good one. And I highly recommend you, as a musician or whatever, if you haven't already, to do the research on the people that you quote unquote admire. But don't admire, just acknowledge their music for what it is. It's not cool to be a fan in certain cases with certain people because that's what they want. Don't be a manite. Don't be that person that takes everybody's word for bond, and that means me included. But even a celebrity, which is more dangerous because they have that type of influence in the first place, because they have multiple platinum plaques. And that just brings me to like the comment section as well. I really want to read some of the comments, because one thing I need to understand myself is, when you are reading memes or whatnot, you could be a victim of making a response that you may or may not regret. In my case, I don't really care. I just said there was definitely some songs, if not a lot of them, that the Neptunes have made that sound exactly the same, even in chord progression. There's nothing wrong with that if it's your vibe in the first place. Now, I know what you guys are thinking because of trap beats, trap tendo and all that. Am I offended by it? Absolutely not, because I could do different types of music in itself. One thing that I applaud Pharrell for being is a minimalist, or for the fact that he's mastered mediocrity. I know you guys are going to think I'm talking and dissing Pharrell and saying that he's a mediocre producer. And I don't mean it in that shape or form. I know that he is very good and well and understood about how musical theory works. But however, he also understands the crowd that he is pushing the music to, and he understands that they like minimalistic music, which means the simplest of music, thus the mediocrity in that, which is not easy to master. It is a hard thing to master a craft like that, where you are producing simple records that everybody loves and enjoys. All right, so we're going to read some of the comments because there are some ones that I want to point out. So DJ Burn One comes in here and slap in the face. Here we go. I feel him, but he's definitely ran the Triton drums into the ground. And of course, it got 18 likes. A lot of people responded. I'm pretty sure a lot of them are going to be in defense of Pharrell. Was thinking the same thing. Oh, I guess not. Because that's what was available at that time. This was 2004 and 2006. Pharrell's talking where drum kits started become a way more available. It's not like currently where you can hit Google and find a drum kit of your choosing. This response right here is clearly by somebody that does not understand or look and see the quality of the video right here is pretty low quality. So that right here, I could say that's a 480p maybe video, 480i video. It's an old interview. You can also look at Pharrell's hat on his head and tell that Pharrell is not even in that same wavelength as he is now. Pharrell ain't rocking hats like that anymore. I'm sorry. He has leveled up his style. Even in today's type beat era, like people want to sound like somebody else. And this is nothing new because even Pharrell himself, with 2 records that somebody else is going to point out later on in the comment section, sounded like somebody else. One being Happy, and then the other one being Blurred Lines, which he caught the lawsuit for. In response to that, DJ Burn One said, "Have you heard of drum machines?" I don't think today's music producer understands that there are drum machines, like hardware that's out there where it allows you to change the characteristics of a drum, nor do they understand that if you put certain drum kits in there, like if you have a TR-808, you can make a TR-808 drum machine sound totally different just by EQing the drums or EQing the 808. Then we have Alex Garcia saying, "What the fuck? You know producers find their own drums, right? They can get them straight from vinyl a lot and clean them up in their DAW. If not vinyl, they are playing live snares, kicks, hats, filtering them. They are the ones who create drum kits that consumers buy." I think Alex Garcia is going in on the fact that a lot of these cats, a lot of these newer cats don't want to pay for shit. They want to pirate shit and all that. So therefore they find the easiest answers, results, and they go to Google and they end up going to the dark side of Google. So Marcus says this right here. He says, "Much respect to Pharrell. He and Chad are legends with a hellified catalog of hits. That being said, get the fuck out of here." You might not have used those grinding drums 1,000,000 times, but y'all damn sure used those other drums 2,000,000 times. At least 80% of your joints sound alike. No hate though. You made your mark and you got paid. Just found this hilarious. When you listen to what Pharrell said, it's easy to get offended. Like, it's really easy to get offended. But at the same time, you just gotta take what he says with a grain of salt, just like I did. Even though I responded immediately, and this is why I'm gonna do things on my platform and not go to somebody's comment section, because I don't want to give people my time and think that I'm wasting my time being up in my feelings about something as small as what another producer that I'm probably never going to meet opinion about a certain topic or whatever. When it comes down to Pharrell in the first place, like one of the things that he has said a long time ago is that you should always have a plan B if you're going to go into something of your dreams. And I thought to myself when I heard Pharrell say that, like, dude, I have a job and I really hate it. But yet I'm getting checks from the music industry, and I'm talking about thousands of dollars from the music industry, still holding on to a job just because I want to have a cushion, but I'm not going full on with my career in music, and I'm obviously good enough to do such a thing. But the problem is that we live in a world where it's based off of fear. Like, it makes people afraid to take those risks because they don't want to be poor and all that. But I end up being poor anyways. I end up being homeless anyways when I started going full on to pursue my career. And at the same time, I built myself up from that. And I had to learn my lesson from that. But the main thing I learned was that you have to invest in yourself. And I'm not talking about buying clothes so you can look fly at the club while you perform, or buying every piece of music equipment out there, because if you're not efficient with the stuff that you have, then you're probably not going to be efficient with the stuff that you're going to buy. That's just a rule that you should live by. And then we have this comment by Clifford Henson. He says, I just came here to watch niggas argue with P. Even though he sold millions of records, they still gonna debate what he said in the comments. And see, that's the problem right there. Some people are so blind by celebrities, so blinded by the fame, and so blinded by fandom that they don't understand that people do, no matter who you are, contradict themselves. And a lot of people actually pointed out the contradiction. Regardless of how many records that he sold, there's a whole bunch of hypocrisy on what he said. Because a lot of their hit records have done very well and sounded exactly the same within the song structure and the drums. So with that, you can take it as a grain of salt, or you can be upset about it. Me, myself, I like to analyze things. This is why I'm doing this video, is because I'm analyzing things and the people that leave those comments. It makes it hilarious that there are people that will defend it or laugh out loud and try to clown other people for pointing out the quite obvious. I'm not trying to say that Pharrell is trying to mislead people, but I am saying watch his moves, because they're the total opposite of what he's saying out of his mouth. And that has been the case before. And you should always be observant of people when they are rising to the top of what they do and the moves that they're making. So that way that you can either make those same moves or make better moves, or even not make those same mistakes that that person has made. It's like having an older brother and watching them get their ass whooped for stealing a cookie at night, and you being a younger one and figuring out a way how you can steal a cookie and blame it on your older brother. Yes, I am telling on myself. Sorry, big brother. So I want to close with this right here. When it comes down to using the same drums, different genres are much alike in that instance. I mean, if you look at rock and roll, and I'm not talking about every subgenre in rock and roll, even though it can still be the case that they use the same type of drums. Same thing with EDM, regardless of what you look at. If you look at techno or whatever kind of techno or whatever genre, house music or something like that, the very vast amount of them use the same type of drums. And there's no problem with that. They might not have the same melodical palette, but they probably use the exact same drums. Even though the vast majority of you guys are only using the Spins 808 and the Lex Luger snap clap or whatever, or the Rat Kick, for the most part, the musical palette might be a little different as well. And I'm not trying to contradict myself as if I don't make preset banks based on songs and stuff like that, but it also depends on your creativity, your creative palette, to make it your own. In modern day music, people are producing stuff in the computer, so they'll probably use Omnisphere. If they see Metro, TM88 use that, or Electra X or whatever it is, like people will use that to their best ability and try to get the same kind of vibe, at least, if not the same sound. I know there are people out there that just clearly just bite other people's style. One of the things that I could say about Pharrell and the Blurred Lines thing is it did have the same vibe as the Marvin Gaye record, and that's why they caught that lawsuit, because it arrived on the same vibe. It had that exact same vibe. It might have not been the same notes, but you could tell where the inspiration came from. And even in the song Happy, which was his best song that he's written so far, I believe, where it went 10 times platinum, like that record in itself had some inspiration from gospel music during the 60s and 50s and even doo-wop. And you can hear that inspiration even though you couldn't pinpoint it. So even Pharrell has been a victim of his own demise with that, as of all of us, because we are all inspired to do music from something else that somebody else has created. I don't care who you are, you've been inspired by somebody, and Pharrell in himself has inspired me. So with that, guys, let me know how you feel about this.